Which college or which university?
It's not. There's no need even to have a college degree.
Oh, wow. Okay.
At all, or even high school. I mean, if somebody graduated from a great university, that may be an indication that they will be capable of great things, but it's not necessarily the case.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. First of all, I want to thank you for staying with me during this period when I stopped posting. I explained why I made this decision in a previous video. If you are curious why I did, check out the card in the corner. Before we go any further, I want to say that I know we are used to getting the information that we want as fast as possible, TikTok style. But for your own sake, watch this one until the end. On top of everything I'm going to say later, this is an extra skill set that successful people have that contains patience and the will to take a step back, breathe, and listen. Train those skills by watching this until the end. This video will be long and it is aimed at teenagers and young adults, but it is also a good eye-opener for young parents to not make the same mistakes their parents did and condemn your children to a life of mediocrity and average financial returns. If you come from a modest household, then you've been taught the same things that I was. Go to school, get good grades, go to college and get a degree, get a job, start from the bottom and climb the corporate ladder, get a lease to buy a car, get a mortgage to buy a house, work hard for 40 plus years to pay the bills and the mortgage. And when you are in your 60s or even 70s, you will have a house to leave to your kids and hopefully some savings to enjoy your retirement. Sounds familiar? If it does, give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment with your family's version of this plan. On the other hand, there are many on YouTube that will say that your parents are wrong. They will say that going through life following this blueprint is the sure way to always be poor, and that no one cares about your grades or your degree. Well, I'm here to say that both sides are wrong, because they are focusing on the wrong things. And swinging like a pendulum to the extremes is not an answer either. Your parents want to keep you safe. It makes sense. So they teach you the tried and true method that has provided for their families for generations, and they are wrong to do so, because the only way to accumulate wealth is by taking a calculated risk. There is no millionaire alive or dead who made their fortune taking the safe route. On the other hand, there are YouTubers looking to get clicks and shares who will tell you that school is a waste of time and that the millionaires are self-made, self-taught, high school dropouts, but in reality, at most, they are college dropouts. And what they don't tell you is that for any success story, there are countless other stories that ended badly. So then, there is no blueprint, right? Well, I'm here to tell you that there is. The secret is not to dismiss either side, but shift the perspective. Go back to the drawing board and, as Elon Musk does, rethink everything from the atoms up. See what works for you, what does not, and bring all the pieces together in a mesh that will give you the highest chance of success. I did that for myself and for my future children, and I'm sharing this with you, hoping that it will help. This is my blueprint, and I'm confident that it will allow me to retire at around 40, give or take a couple of years, and if I were to know all of this in my teens, I'm sure I would be retired by now. By the way, I'm 33 years old. When going through life, humans depend on patterns. This is a normal function of the brain and a defense mechanism to not go insane by over-analyzing everything around us. That is all well and good if you are talking about muscle memory, about driving a car or doing a repetitive task, but it is also a society trap and the opposite of what drives success and building wealth. Doing what everyone else is doing at best will help you achieve what most have: mediocrity. So you might be asking, what can we do differently? Going forward, I will use some of my own goals so that you have a real life example. I will first show you all the steps and then we will go through them one by one and apply the blueprint the same way I am doing in order to achieve my goal. All success stories have this template in common: smart objectives, access to the necessary tools, drive to follow through, good timing, a good social network, and social skills. The last one is not mandatory, but it does make it easier to succeed in life, and it's also the reason why many great innovators who lacked in this area had partners to take care of that side of the business. Doing everything by yourself and not depending on others is impossible. and having a good social network can make things infinitely easier. Always studying and never going out to party or joining other social activities when you are young will set you up for a lot of hardship later on. Interacting with your peers at an early age will help to easily connect with people as an adult. People are designed to be pack animals, and while being alone will help you focus more on your work, that might be for nothing if you can bring your work in front of people. Knowing all of that, and in order to apply the blueprint, we need to define the goal. And no, having $1 million is not a goal. Money never is. Developing a business that brings $1 million is. My current goal is to give back to the community, share things that help people of all ages, and impact as many people as possible in a good way. Now that we have the goal and the blueprint, let's see how we can apply it. Number 1, defining SMART objectives. SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Specific means when you will set an objective, that objective needs to be as specific as humanly possible. In my case, it is to share what I know in order to impact in a good way the life of 1 million people by making YouTube videos. Measurable means that I use YouTube analytics to measure the reach, the engagement, and everything else regarding my videos, also keeping track of likes, shares, number of views, etc. Achievable, well, others have done it, and therefore I can do it as well. I have all the needed equipment, knowledge, and examples, so I will try 1,000 approaches to find my way and make that stick. Relevant is the answer to the question. Is what I am doing relevant to the main goal? In my case, yes. 1 million people are a lot, and a good stepping stone to 5 million. Then 10, then you get the point. The last one in the list is time-bound. You always have to have a time frame in mind, a realistic time frame. In my case, this is my goal for the next 2 years.
Because some people love English or languages, some people love math, some people love music, and different abilities at different times. It makes more sense to cater the education to match their aptitudes and abilities. So I think that's one principle. Another is that it's important to teach problem solving, or teach to the problem, not to the tools. So this would be like, let's say you're trying to teach people about how engines work, or you could start by a more traditional approach would be to say, well, we're going to teach you all about screwdrivers and wrenches, and you're going to have a course on screwdrivers, a course on wrenches, and all these things. And this is a very difficult way to do it. A much better way would be like, here's the engine. Now let's take it apart. How are we going to take it apart? Oh, you need a screwdriver. That's what the screwdriver is for. You need a wrench. That's what the wrench is for. And then a very important thing happens, which is that the relevance of the tools becomes apparent.
When it comes to the necessary tools and the drive to follow through, I have grouped these two together because they are closely related. In order to achieve an objective, you must first lay down the steps needed to be taken and then map the tools needed to take those steps. In order to know what you want, you need to know what it is possible. In order to know what you need, you have to know what you have. Going back to our example, in order to have this YouTube channel, I need the following tools. Number 1, knowledge to share. This is the most important of the list. Everything I share comes from things I've learned studying and then applied countless times. Number 2, access to the internet. The fact that you are watching this on YouTube might make you laugh, but there are a lot of people that can't afford it or don't have access, period. A YouTube channel, recording equipment, and the know-how to use it, editing equipment and software, and the know-how to use that, and that's about it. The next intermediate step is to map what I know and what I have with what I need in order to figure out what I have to buy or learn. This mapping, by default, is a skill set, and this is usually developed early on in school. Going to school challenges a person to cover multiple areas of knowledge and exposes them to subjects they probably would not try by themselves if they didn't have to. This is a period to find oneself, your strengths, and know your weaknesses. Also, finishing your studies helps one master the second item in this topic. There will be many times in life when in order to reach your goal, you will have to get over the things you don't like doing to be able to do the ones that you do like. Getting passing grades at subjects you don't like in order to keep learning the things you do will teach you the most important skill out of this whole blueprint, having the drive to follow through.
How I describe myself? Well, I mean, I seem to have a high innate drive, and that's been true even since I was a little kid. You know, I really had a very strong drive.
College comes with great expenses, and going or not going is a decision not to be taken lightly. It will impact the rest of your life. Depending on what you want to achieve, going to college will either add to the list of tools one needs to reach their goals, or set them back both financially and time-wise. If you want to be a doctor, for example, going to college is both mandatory to get a degree, but also necessary, because that's a field that needs hands-on experience that you cannot get outside of college. On the other hand, if engineering is something that you like, then that is a teachable skill. With access to the internet, you can learn anything by yourself, faster, and at a fraction of the price. But this means having a work ethic and discipline beyond reproach. And just to summarize this idea, I'll play a short clip of Elon Musk to drive this home.
Which college or which university?
No, there's no need even to have a college degree
Oh, wow, okay.
at all, or even high school. I mean, if somebody graduated from a great university, that may be an indication that they will be capable of great things, but it's not necessarily the case. You know, if you look at, say, people like Bill Gates or Larry Ellison, Steve Jobs, these guys didn't graduate from college.
Dropouts, yeah.
But if you had a chance to hire them, of course, that would be a good idea.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, just looking just for evidence of exceptional ability. And if there's a track record of exceptional achievement, then it's likely that that will continue into the future.
I've already talked about having a good social network and social skills. So this is the last in the list. Good timing. Genomics, artificial intelligence, electric vehicles are just a few examples that are booming right now. The research papers that all of this evolution is based on were written decades ago. Most of the knowledge that acts as a foundation now for further innovation was generally known to the scientific community. The only reason things are happening as they are now instead of years ago is because of Moore's law and Wright's law. Moore's law, named after Gordon Moore for his work in 1965, just think about that, focuses on cost as a function of time. Specifically, it states that the number of transistors on a chip would double every 2 years. Wright's law, on the other hand, forecasts cost as a function of units produced. I won't go further in depth with either, but to say it in another way, now the cost of batteries to make electric vehicles and transistors to make supercomputers that can train neural networks is exponentially lower than it was, let's say, 30 years ago. So much lower that if you follow this curve in the future, in a couple of years, what Google or Tesla have in their warehouses, you will probably have in your home or ear pocket. To sum everything up, there is no one-size-fits-all approach. And the fact that your family did it this way does not mean you or your children have to keep doing it. When it comes to personal growth and financial success, doing what everyone else is doing is the worst thing that you can do. Being another brick in the wall will be the shortest path to living a mediocre life with nothing exceptional to show for. Instead, define one. Not more, just one goal as early in life as possible, and after you reach that one, define another. Write down all the steps and objectives needed to reach that goal, and then go through life doing what it is needed to gather the tools to meet those objectives. If that means going to college, go. If that means taking an online course, do. If that means reading or watching YouTube videos, go for it. If that means working at McDonald's and save as much as possible to pay for the equipment, then do just that. The second you check all the boxes for what is needed, start to execute your plan. And most of all, follow through and take it to the finish line. Otherwise, everything you did was for nothing, and you will end up in a worse place than if you were just mediocre. As a bonus, just to help you out, here is Elon again explaining what it takes to start a business. But before that, thank you for watching, kind regards, and see you in the next one.
There's a friend of mine who's got a great saying about creating a company. which is trying to build a company and have it succeed is like eating glass and staring into the abyss. So, I mean, what tends to happen is it's sort of quite exciting for the first several months of starting a company. And then reality sets in, things don't go as well as planned, customers aren't signing up, the technology or the product isn't working as well as you thought. And then that can sometimes be compounded by a recession, and it can be very, very painful for several years. So I think, frankly, starting a company, I would advise people to have a high pain tolerance.
Yeah. And thanks for reminding us of the harsh, very harsh and brutal reality of launching a startup. It's really hard. It's really difficult, and it's something that requires perseverance and grit. Do you fear that maybe in this generation or the younger generation that they don't have that perseverance and grit to take on these really tough challenges?
I think some people do. But no, I think it is definitely true that, I mean, maybe there are occasionally companies that get created where there's not an extended period of extreme pain, but I'm not aware of very many of such instances. So, but I do think that new great entrepreneurs are born every day, and we'll continue to see amazing companies get built. But I mean, as long as people stay super focused on creating an absolute best product or service that really delights their end customer, if they stay focused on that, then if you get it such that your customers want you to succeed, then you probably will.
All right, you have to focus on the customer and delivering for them.
Yeah, make sure if your customers love you, your odds of success are dramatically higher.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button if you did. And don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on more videos like this.